love the coffee, I love the community, I love the connections, and I just miss the place. I've actually been stuck in my tent for the past several months. Coming here was a challenge because I could not leave my stuff. There was a risk of either being stolen, cut, set on fire. I've been basically homeless for the past couple of months, unable to connect with anybody. Property owners that currently own my last residence, from day one, we've been battling. We've been to court 4 times over their practices as landlords. This was in October. They cut the power. They were ordered to put it back on. As soon as they put it back on, they cut the gas in the middle of winter for 6 months. So again, I took them to court. They were basically trying to drive me out because my rent was really cheap. They bought all the buildings around me and they kept raising the rent, so I knew exactly what they were doing. They got what they wanted because the court date for July this year, I just happened to be in hospital for the injury that you see on me right now. I had nobody to represent me, and I was still in hospital during the appeal date. When I was released from hospital, I was only in my residence for 5 days before the sheriff came knocking and forcibly evicted me from my place. I had 5 minutes to get whatever I could before they forcibly take me out of the house. So one of my first negative experiences out here was when my neighbors moved in. So I woke up to noise in my camp, and as soon as I pulled the zipper down, there's a dog barking at me. I shouted down the neighbors, "Come get your dog." They didn't respond, and as soon as I came out of my tent, the dogs really started coming at my feet. They kept getting more and more aggressive. And at that point, I had a social worker just standing right there on the hill, screaming, because she saw me under attack. So she called the cops. The social worker came down to my tent and the dogs came running back like they're gonna attack her. She was screaming at me not to get involved because if I did something to that animal, I'd get retaliated by the owners of that dog. And that created tension between me and my neighbors. So I was definitely feeling very vulnerable being out here. And being alone, that made it a bit more insecure for me because I had to sleep with the axe and the knife and everything else just in case I got attacked. Attacks do happen, especially if they mistake you for somebody. And I knew because it was the end of summer and that it was hard to find housing that I'd be spending the winter out here. I was actually fearing for my life at that point. Because the longer you're part of this community, the more likely you are to stay in this community. Because the longer you're homeless, the more homeless you become. The more it becomes a part of you.
We might like to believe that Chris's story is a unique and isolated incident, but the truth is that he's not alone in his experience. We sat down with a few organizations that are attempting to help in our current housing crisis, to understand what is being done and what needs to be done in order for more people who are experiencing hardship to be able to step into flourishing.
So Shelter Health Network is a group of about 31 physicians who provide care to the homeless and marginally housed individuals in Hamilton. If people don't have a consistent person in their life, they lose trust. It is important that they've made a connection with one of the docs there. If they've found somebody that they've made a good connection with, like the nurse practitioner Hallie is a good shepherd, they can go back and see her and consistently know that she is going to be there.
So we're a pay-it-forward restaurant, which means that anybody who comes into this restaurant can get a meal, even if they don't have enough money to pay for it. And there's something really beautiful that happens, and messy, that happens when we actually sit together with people that are different from us, or maybe we wouldn't normally interact with.
Indwell creates and operates affordable housing communities. If somebody's been living unhoused, especially chronically, what tends to happen is that we tend to lose a lot of the skills we had to maintain an apartment, pay bills, shop for food, shop for clothing, For people to find a home is beautiful.
Helping Hands is a place where people do life together. We care about people's physical needs, but we care even more deeply about their social and spiritual needs. And so we get together over a cup of coffee and we have programming that we dig deep with each other in. We have Bible studies that we enjoy together so that we can really care for each other holistically and not just physically.
There's about 15 people that worked quite hard and quite often to get me housed. And no matter how many applications we made, no matter how many viewings we went to, each one was rejected primarily because I was homeless. They did not want to take a risk on a homeless person because of the stigma that they're destructive, that they're addicts, that they're no goods, that they're just too high risk. So Halba was the most frequent visitor, but then I had my friend Mike, the current case manager at the bridge, and then my friend Sean, who was a friend of Helping Hands. He would come out. I would have Alice, the executive director from Helping Hands, come out. My neighbor from across the street where I used to live, he would come out. So every so often I'd have a visitor, and we'd just talk. They'd see how I was doing, seeing if I needed anything. Every Tuesday and Friday, I would have a street outreach worker come out here and tend to my wound. And we do healthcare right here on the hill. And that was the lifesaver that kept me from losing my foot. Because although she was professional in doing her job, she also understood that out here, conversation is a big thing. Because when you're by yourself, any kind of contact, any kind of communication, that's gold to somebody that's been on their own.
It's really important that there's places people are known by their name, where people are welcomed as they are. From there, we can actually achieve flourishing because we know people's stories and we can help them to even just find those moments of connection and joy that actually lead to flourishing. For so many of us, just coming into a space like this, where we are surrounded by people who are kind and we're able to enjoy a meal or a coffee, maybe connect with a friend, that to me sounds like the foundation of flourishing.
For an individual to move forward and or flourish, it takes a village. It takes so many different services, so many different people, each of which needs to do their part to carry that person forward. Getting Chris finally into a place to live, that was a whole lot of people. And when I think of how difficult it was for a fellow who is as well supported as he is, I mean, we jumped through hoops, dealing with the bank, dealing with landlords, potential landlords. I don't know how somebody who doesn't have the supports that Chris has could ever possibly accomplish it.
A big part of poverty is a lack of networks and a lack of support. A big difference between me when I go through a hard time in my life, and a lot of the friends at Helping Hands going through hard things, is the fact that I have a family that's there behind me. I have a church that I can lean on, and a lot of the friends that come here to Helping Hands don't have that. That's what we try to emulate here at Helping Hands. We call each other family, we call each other friends, and we care deeply and walk alongside folks that don't have those kind of natural supports that others might have.
In order to get to belonging, you have to start with hospitality and community. Belonging doesn't just happen. Belonging takes place over time as people feel like a place like this is their own. We connect with each other and we get to know each other's name. By knowing each other's names, we might be able to help someone to feel like they belong here. And through belonging, we can bring justice and hope into the world by advocating for our neighbors who might need access to supports, who might need housing or treatment programs or places to just rest.
Tom lived with Indwell for about 12 years. Previously, he was homeless. He had been living in, previous to that, a really disreputable building. He came to us, lived in a few different Indwell buildings actually over his time, so kind of graduated from a bit more support to less support. But that stability that he had in his life allowed him to address his diabetes, to a degree, some addictions, and helped him and his daughter reunite. One thing that Tom loved to do was fundraise. It's part of my job. And he was always having ideas about how he could raise funds for new doors in a new building. So opening doors for more people to have housing.
Homeless people are still people. They're just people like the rest of us, and social communities are huge for supporting people. When I think in particular about Chris, he had such a community. I mean, he volunteers at Helping Hands. He also has supported so many of the homeless folks who show up at Helping Hands that he is extremely well connected in that community, and community is hugely important to him. And community is hugely important to everybody.
So when I look back at my own story of how I got out of here, it was due to those supports. And as I stand here, these guys, they really don't have a chance because they don't have the supports that I did. You know, this place has changed quite a bit. And I've only been gone here not even 3 weeks. So the human effort that we put in trying to get me housed, the human effort kept failing, kept getting rejected. It just wasn't working. And the doctor took me to this one place where she had so much belief that I would get it, that she put all her cards in. I didn't feel the energy when I looked at the place, but we did all the paperwork. We put in the deposit. We did everything that they required. It was on the checklist. Within 24 hours, I was rejected. We didn't give up. We kept applying. We kept going. And then when she got in touch with Bashir, the worker from Housing Up, I felt something inside me telling me to pursue this. Try one more time. So on Monday when we went to go meet him, walked into that apartment and I immediately knew this wasn't the place. So they showed us the apartment across the hall. And the moment that I crossed the threshold and saw this place, it was almost like day and night. When I was in the old apartment, the other apartment, it was dark. Went into this apartment that I'm in now. And it was almost as if there was light all over the place. And when I walked in, I was looking around and I said, this is the place. This is where I want to be. I want to make an application right now for this place. And that was the thing that was calling inside me. It was saying, accept this place, apply for it, it's yours. And I told the doctor before that I believed in God and that all those other places, they weren't meant for me. I'm supposed to be here. He told me to apply here. This is the only place that I actually wanted. And the first place that I wanted is the first place I got. She looks back at everything that I've went through and sees that God seems to be working in my life. How I felt volunteering at Helping Hands at first was I felt out of place. It was the first time I've ever done a service, basically a selfless service for somebody else. And when I was serving my first coffee, I swore I'd never work food service, I'd never do something like that. But when I handed out my first coffee and I got the first thank you, I saw why people do it. And the more people started thanking, it was more like, I'm not looking for a thank you, I'm looking to give to you. And the feelings that I got from it was, I felt a lot of joy, I felt like I belonged, I felt like I was given another chance, and I started really understanding what it means to give and what the word helping hands means. As my hands were helping others, as the same hands that were helping me.
We have these opportunities to walk with so many different people through their lives. We don't claim to provide everything at Helping Hands, and it's so beautiful to have that network together with Indwell and with Shelter Health Network and 541. We're all together working with our friends to find places of flourishing. Chris continues to be a good friend at Helping Hands. I just love coming to Helping Hands on a Friday evening and hanging out with Sarah as she pours me coffee, and Rob as he connects with me about politics, and so many other friends that come hang out together at Helping Hands. Friendship is something that we can all do. It's not something that's unreachable. It's something that everybody has the capacity to be a part of. And so as we go out from here, what does it look like for us to all reach out and be a friend, dig deep with people, and build that community of flourishing together?